Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Anne Arundel County House Delegation meeting. It is Friday, March 5th, and I'm just happy because it's Friday, quite frankly. But let's go ahead and get started. I call this meeting to order. And Ryan, if you could, thank you. All right. Our Pledge of Allegiance and prayer will be brought to us today by Delegate Shanika Henson. Delegate Henson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let us pray. Lord, we thank you for trusting us with a responsibility to make decisions on behalf of people whom you created and you love. We ask you to give us the wisdom to make those decisions, to give us the strength and character and purpose to be able to make them with fidelity. We ask you, Lord, to meet us where our wisdom ends and to be the provider for people where the government is not able to, God. Lord, we ask you to give us the ability to hear each other clearly, to be able to reason and make decisions collectively as a body on behalf of Anne Arundel County. We thank you, God, for the goodness that exists on this earth, and we ask you to give us the ability to be able to shield the people of this county from the badness that exists on this earth. We thank you, God, for your infinite wisdom and your mercy, and for all the blessings you have given to us and those whom we represent. We thank you and we honor you. Amen.
Thank you, Delegate Henson. Next, I would like to take this moment to acknowledge our pages who have been working all session long. These are high school juniors and seniors who may one day be senators and delegates. That would be wonderful. So I'm going to, just a second, I'm going to get their names. I'm sorry, I don't have the list of names in front of me. There's a lot of moving parts going on today, but I will get that for us so that we can have everybody recognized. Just 1 second, bear with your chair. I'm gonna get a t-shirt that says, bear with your chair. Just 1 second. All right. Well, I am not seeing the list now, so I'm going to ask you all to introduce yourselves. I'm not going to take up any more time. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your work. And I see Millicent. Do you mind if I start with you, Millicent?
Hi, my name is Millicent Goodwin. I'm a senior at South River High School, and I'm really thankful for this opportunity to be a page and to be at this meeting.
Thank you, Millicent. I appreciate you having that forthrightness to just get in there and get started. Okay, I need someone to go next. I can't see everyone's full name, so if you would just jump right in, I'd appreciate it.
Hi, I'm Bella. I'm a senior at Severn School, which is in Severna Park. I'm going to go to Claremont McKenna next year for college, and I'm also really excited to be able to serve as a page this year.
Wonderful. Congratulations. That's awesome. Is that Nora?
Hello, I'm Nora Geary. I go to Broadneck High School in Annapolis. Sadly, this is my final week of paging, but I've really enjoyed paging and I've learned a lot. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you for your service. We appreciate you. I'm not sure if there's anyone else. Is there anyone else?
Yeah. Madam Chair, we have Drake Smith.
Drake Smith, yeah. Simone.
Okay, Matilda, did you want to go next?
Sure. My name's Matilda. I'm a senior at Severna Park High School, and I've learned a lot from being a page. I have my last week, in a week from now, and I've learned a lot, and it's been super fun, and I've met a lot of cool people through it, and I'm thankful to have this opportunity.
Great. and Drake Smith.
Good morning, everyone. I'm having difficulties with my camera right now, so it's not, I don't know what's going on. But my name is Drake Smith. I've met some of you before because I'm a student member of the Anne Arundel County Board of Education and a senior at Meade High School. My last week of paging is in 2 weeks, I believe. It's been a very exciting time, even though it's virtual. And like everyone else, I've learned a lot. I'm really enjoying it.
Excellent. Simone?
Hi, my name is Simone Flynn. I'm a senior at Arundel High School. I'll be attending UMD next year, next year. Anyway, I had a lot of fun doing paging. I really loved listening to the hearings and just like seeing people's back and forth sometimes. So my final week of paging is 2 weeks from now, and I'm really sad to see it go, but I'm really excited that I had this opportunity in the first place.
Great. Thank you, Simone. And do we have anyone else? Sean? I'm not sure if I couldn't see your face, so I wasn't sure if you are a page or not.
Yeah, sorry. I'm Sean. I'm from Bronick High School. My last week of being a page starts this Monday or next Monday. And I might go to college in Dublin.
Wonderful. Awesome. Please send us a postcard. Will you promise to send us a postcard maybe? Okay, thank you. All righty, I think we've got everyone. And if I missed anyone, just unmute yourself and jump right in. Wonderful. I am so proud. On behalf of the Anne Arundel County House delegation, let me just say, we are so proud of you all, and we appreciate your work. We appreciate your tenacity to work even during a virtual world. And so we appreciate you. Please keep in touch. As I said, Sean, we'd love a postcard from Dublin, and Bella, everyone, Matilda, Simone, Drake, we know that you're going to go on to do great things. So thank you for sharing your time with us.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Delegate Henson.
I know we have a tight schedule today. Do we have a second for us to unmute and to just give them a round of applause and to welcome them like we welcome our pages?
Yeah, oh my goodness, yes, we do. So let's go on gallery view and let's give them a big welcome the way we do on the floor.
Thank you.
Excellent. Great idea, Delegate Henson. Thank you. Okay, so now I see two hands. Delegate Malone?
I will try to be brief. I want to thank all the pages, but in particular, Simone. I'm an Arundel graduate from way back in 1985. And Millicent, I believe 3 of my children have been taught by your father, who is a teacher. Is that correct? So Millicent from South River, I have 2 grads and a sophomore there who Millicent has a wonderful father who is a teacher there. Thank you all for being here.
Excellent. Vice Chair Rogers.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A point of personal privilege. I definitely want to congratulate all the pages as well. I think we have some of the best pages in the state. But I would be remiss if I didn't take a point of personal privilege to acknowledge Drake Smith. Drake is everywhere. Not only is he the student member of the board, he's the former youth president of the Anne Arundel County chapter of the NAACP. Already has multiple college acceptances, and I'm sure he'll be deciding here shortly which one, but just very proud of this young man. And, you know, I'm just honored to know not only him, but his mom and his dad, as well as his grandmother. So representing Meade High, where both of my kids went to school. So Drake, thanks for all you're doing for the county.
Excellent.
No,
Thank you.
I was going to say, thank you, Delegate Rogers. Thank you so much. I think it just goes to show you that maybe District 32 has the, I don't know, maybe pretty great. Everyone else got to step up.
Woo-hoo. Well, speaking of District 32, we're going to move on with our agenda. And now we are going to have some excellent presentations. Our first presentation is from Fort Meade Garrison Commander Colonel Christopher Nyland. Colonel Nyland has quite the distinguished career. Fort Meade, as we know, was established in 1917, and it is growing and advancing and houses all 5 branches of the military, so the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, Marines, and Coast Guard. The Fort Meade Garrison slogan is the nation's platform for intelligence, information, and cyber operations. So now I present you Colonel Christopher Nyland.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good morning to all the delegates and the pages out there. It's great to see Drake Smith representing just about everywhere. Had an outstanding engagement with him not too long ago, so it's good to see him representing it with the delegates along with the school board. I appreciate the introduction, Madam Chair. I will tell you, just recently we were proud to add the Space Force to our contingent of personnel here at Fort Meade. So we now proudly represent all 6 branches of the armed services. So we joined our youngest brother in here, and you'll start to see some of those guardians in and around your communities. I appreciate the opportunity to speak today. I just want to talk a little bit about what's going on here in Fort Meade. As many of you know, I've been on board for about 6 months now, and it's been quite an interesting period to join the team with everything that's been going on with regard to COVID and really the continued growth of the post. Very early on, I sat with my senior leader, Major General Jones, who commands the entire military district of Washington, and we set some priorities for the installation as we move forward. The first and most important priority of the post is really making sure that all of our tenant organizations who have those critical national security objectives are able to achieve those. And so in order to do that, our number 1 priority is really about protecting the force so we can protect the mission. And in previous years, that was a lot of focus on physical security and those kinds of activities. Obviously, this year, health protection and protecting the force from COVID takes the centerpiece of that. A quick update on what's going on post with regard to battling COVID here. Like most of you, we're seeing incremental decreases in case rates in the surrounding community. However, we've decided while the county executive and the governor have made a number of decisions to start to reopen things in the county and in the state, we've kind of taken the opposite stance. Obviously, we don't have some of those same pressures with the economy, et cetera, that they do. So while we've been happy to watch the incremental decline as we moved out of the November-December period, we've actually doubled down on our status where we're continuing to have very strict mask measures and enforcing all those great things that got us to where we are. Additionally, we've all heard the good news, and we've all started to see the light at the end of the tunnel with regard to the vaccine. We are receiving vaccine here on post. We get what I would call a proportionate share into the Department of Defense. So the Department of Defense is getting about as much vaccine proportionally as the rest of the federal government in the states. We've administered somewhere in the neighborhood of about 10% of our population has gotten a dose of the vaccine. And we've got the capacity to handle much more. So really our limiting factor right now is simply production and supply of vaccine. Our vaccination site here on post is able to handle upwards of 5,000 people a day. And right now we're shooting an average of about 2,500 people a day based on how much vaccine we're receiving in. So I'm proud to say that is moving forward smoothly. And we're really looking forward to continuing to receive in doses so that we can ramp up that administration. Because I know not only does that help the community here, but it helps all the surrounding communities as we introduce more vaccinated population into the surrounding area. Really, as we've gone through our priorities, our second priority is really our work that we do here to support General Jones in his requirement to defend the homeland and really defend the National Capital Region. And so you've seen service members deploy from Fort Meade down to the National Capital Region to help with inauguration security and do a number of things like that. And really, we serve as a potential logistics hub to help ensure that if forces are required in this area, that we can help support and sustain those. Third priority is about housing and supporting the defenders and their families. And this really talks to the continuation of the housing campaign, which I'm proud to report that by this summer we should complete all of our mold remediation efforts that were identified in February of 19. And then we are continuously working with our housing partner Corvius to continue to improve and renovate housing in the area. And I'd say right now, with regard to the housing campaign, where we really are is in an effort to continue to rebuild the trust with our residents. I think we've taken care of most of the major issues, and now it's about rebuilding the trust. My two most recent housing town halls that I've done with the residents, to be honest, have sounded more like homeowners association meetings than anything else, where the major resident concerns have been whether their neighbors are taking in their trash cans or how well the lawns are taken care of, not bringing those big gnarly issues that they had identified previously. So we're very happy with our progress there. And then finally, our fourth priority is really about being ready for the future and preparing for the future. And I will tell you, a big part of Fort Meade's future is continued growth. When I first came in, we were tracking a census number of about 56,000, a workforce of about 56,000. One of the very first things we did when I came on board was work to update our census. And what we found is over really the past 4 or 5 years, our population grew by about 6,000. So our current workforce right now is at about 62,000. And I think there's going to be an accounting error that we found. And I think the actual number is probably closer to 67,000. But I'm waiting until next month or next quarter's report comes out before I go official with that number. And then I will tell you, over the next 5 to 6 years, we anticipate seeing an additional real growth of about 3,500. So I think, the commander that comes to this delegate meeting in 2008 will be telling you the population of the post is well over 72,000, will be well over 72,000 at that point, which I know has impacts all across the community. In addition to that, many of you may be aware that the National Security Agency is doing a very large construction project on their side of the post. They're building about 10,000 workspaces on that side of the compound. And what they're doing is they're taking portions of their workforce that are in the surrounding office parks, and they're going to start returning them to work on Fort Meade over that same period, over really the next 8 years. So while that's not real growth, that is definitely going to have an impact on traffic patterns and commuting, et cetera. So that's, as I've been working with local interested communities, the local government, et cetera, I've been really emphasizing that point. While we've really appreciated all the work that's gone into helping solve some of the traffic problems up to this point. Unfortunately, we are going to continue to take actions that will further complicate that as we start to bring more of the workforce back on the post. What that effort really is about, it's really about being good stewards of your taxpayer money. because honestly, those construction projects and bringing the workforce back on post is going to save the government a ton of money in what they're currently paying to lease space off posts. The other what we are doing on post to help facilitate this new change in traffic patterns is, as many of you know, we recently completed the one of our access control points there at Mapes and 175. We're getting ready to open our new access control point on the northern portion of 175 at Rockenbach, which we've appreciated all the help in getting that up to speed. As we open up the Rockenbach ACP, what you'll see is we're going to close the Reese Road access control point so that we can bring it up to the same standard that the Mapes 175 access control point is. Ultimately, those standards allow us to move traffic off of 175 and onto post roads, so that we have less of an impact on the main thoroughfare there. And then we're continuing to work with the U.S. Congress to secure and the Army to secure the funding for the Cooper Road reopening or widening on post, and then ultimately addressing our final ACP on Mapes Road with Highway 32. So all of that in an effort to try to be the best community partners and neighbors we can, and pull as much of the potential future traffic problem onto post as we can. And then finally, I would just, I especially with Drake on the line, I would be remiss if I didn't highlight the great work that's started for the Meade High renovation. As we're working through and working closely with not only the Anne Arundel County Public School System, but the contractor to help facilitate that construction. We're really excited to see that kick off and be a part of that, of bringing that renovation of that school into fruition. So I'll pause there for any questions or comments. And again, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Colonel. So I am looking around for any questions. I don't see any questions at the moment. And I do now. I would like to acknowledge one of our distinguished guests, Senator Pam Vital. Senator, you have a question. You just have to unmute.
I need that T-shirt, unmute. Thank you, Chairman. And it's not so much a question, but a thank you to Colonel Nyland. He came here and got immediately involved in the community and figured out a lot of our problems and is working really hard to help Fort Meade and the Community Covenant work together. So Colonel, thank you and welcome to Annapolis. I'm sorry that it's not a real visit, but maybe next year. And thank you for all your efforts.
Yes, indeed. We would certainly like to meet you in person and have an opportunity to shake your hand. Vice Chair Rogers, comment or question?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, first a comment, and as Senator Vital mentioned, a thank you to your leadership efforts there on Fort Meade. We did actually have an opportunity to talk, and I would be interested in knowing some of your priorities with respect to, you mentioned Meade High School, but I believe there are 7 Anne Arundel County Public Schools that are on the installation, and just hearing some of your thoughts about ways to partner with Anne Arundel County Public Schools to sort of improve the stature of the schools that are part of your footprint.
Absolutely. Thank you, Delegate Rogers. And it's great to see you again also. Education is absolutely one of my priorities. As you know, as proud as we are of the Meade cluster of schools, I don't think it's a secret that they don't have the best, especially Meade High doesn't necessarily have the best reputation. And that's one of the things that that's one of the reasons why we're excited with the renovation of Meade High, to really use this as an opportunity help them rebrand and really help rebuild their reputation amongst the community. As I came into this job, my previous experience was I was working at OSD in the Office of the Secretary of Defense. And part of the portfolio my boss worked on had DoDEA schools. And so I took the opportunity before I even showed up here to get with some of the professional educators in a DoDEA and ask them to just look at the publicly available numbers and statistics of the Meade school cluster and give me any insights or help me with any ideas of what would need to be, a good way forward. And one of the things they really brought to my attention was, if you look at the numbers, the achievement numbers for the students at Meade High, what you see is a lot of times they'll come into the school behind on average achievement, but by the time they leave the school, they will caught up or they'll be above the standard. So what the DoD administrators pointed me towards, they said that probably the area that would have the most impact if we paid the most attention to it were the middle schools on the post. And as they were looking at the statistics for the middle schools, what they really identified was some of the challenges with English as second language learners and some of those students. So as we look to, as we start to return to a hybrid model and we have opportunities to get the service members and the here on post more involved, especially with some of the language skills and different things that we have here on post, in discussions with the Anne Arundel County School Administrators, where our real focus area is the middle schools and helping to raise up those students on the low end of the achievement in order to provide more time and opportunity for all the teachers to apply that energy across the student population in order to help everyone achieve more.
I would just ask you to let us know how we can help as you go through that process.
Dr. Rogers, you bring up a great point in along the in the education realm. I appreciate all the hard work all the delegates are doing throughout the year. I would ask all of you, if you have an opportunity to read House Bill 782 or Senate Bill 934 that were introduced this year. Those are bills, Maryland state bills that are focused on the Purple Star program. And it's a program that the DoD supports in order to help not just military children, but all children overcome some of the gaps in curriculum and graduation requirements, et cetera, in the schools. It's a great complement to the work that the Maryland State Council on the Military Interstate Child Compact does. It's not the same. It complements that work. And I think it's a great opportunity to further improve the schools here in the state of Maryland.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Vice Chair Rogers, for your question. I have a couple of announcements to make. We are having a problem with our live feed. OIS is working on it. The public will need to go to the MGA site and click on from there, as opposed to using the link that was provided. And I am checking with council now to see just how we can proceed. So I'll give you an answer to that in just a second. We will continue with our presentations. We do have an amendment to present. We will not present that until the feed is back up. Okay, so next, do we have any questions on that? I see Senator Vital, but I think that's from before. Do we have any questions or comments? Okay, great. We're going to keep moving with our presenters. All right, Gina Stewart, who has presented before us in the past, and we are happy to see you today, Gina. Gina is the executive director with BWI Partnership, and the partnership is made up of local and regional businesses and government agencies, and they are united in accelerating positive growth for the BWI region. Gina?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning. Good morning, Vice Chair Rogers, fellow delegates, and Senator Beidel. Thank you again for having me this morning. As Madam Chair mentioned, my name is Gina Stewart, and I am the Executive Director of the BWI Business Partnership, which is a member organization of approximately 200 prominent companies in the region, along with being designated as a Transportation Management Association here in Anne Arundel County. As a charter member of the Fort Meade Community Covenant, we support the partnership, we support the Fort on many fronts. We appreciate the delegation's past support on the widening of Route 175, along with the opening of the access control point at Mapes Road that Colonel mentioned earlier. And as he also mentioned, with the Fort getting ready to open the new access control point at Rockenbach and Reese Road, closing down to bring it up to its standards that it needs to. These projects are very instrumental for the military and for the civilian workforce coming and exiting the Fort in a timely manner. Happy that we were being able to work with the state on the traffic signalization, which is also a key point in getting those folks in and out in a timely manner. But there's so much more to do. As Colonel mentioned, the growth at Fort Meade is continuing to rise in very large numbers. So your attention and support for more transit solutions regarding MTA and MARC and improvement to the road networks, specifically Route 170, Route 175, Route 32, and Route 100 corridors are very much needed. With Fort Meade being one of the top economic drivers here in the state, we can't emphasize enough the importance of transportation solutions to allow Fort Meade to continue to be the installation of choice and continue its mission successfully. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you, Gina. We really appreciate having you here. And I saw there are many awards that the BW Partnership is receiving, and the County Connector is an excellent program. Does anyone have any comments or questions? Okay, well, we're going to move along. I'm going to make—
Thank you again.
Thank you, and you too. I'm going to make a slight adjustment to our agenda. I just need staff to confirm that we still have a quorum.
Yes, Madam Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Okay, great. So we have a bill that we heard. I'm not sure what the date that we heard it, but it's House Bill 901. And we have an amendment to that bill. A hearing is scheduled on March 11th. However, we have been advised that we could vote on the amendment next Friday and then present the our position on that amendment at the after next Friday at our usual meeting time. But today I would like to make sure that you have the amendment, that the amendment is properly presented. It has been sent to your email just now, so don't worry if you hadn't already seen it. And the amendment is being presented by Delegate Henson and Delegate Jones. We also have our counsel, Matt Carpenter, who can further elaborate and explain any questions that people may have with respect to the amendment. I am going to now, the chair is now going to refer to Delegate Henson to explain the purpose of the amendment.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, colleagues. The amendment to House Bill 901 was brought to our attention by the Annapolis City Council, Chair of the Housing and Human Welfare Committee. The Housing and Human Welfare Committee embarked on an affordable housing task force this summer that's come up with a number of recommendations. One of the recommendations that was laid out by the Affordable Housing Task Force was to find additional sources of revenue to fund affordable housing projects in the city of Annapolis. The city currently has an affordable housing trust fund. The source of revenue for that affordable housing trust fund was the developer fee in lieu of providing moderately priced dwelling units. The council in 2019 stopped allowing the developers to provide the fee in lieu and then just decided that it was more advantageous to provide the additional affordable housing in any new development in the city of Annapolis. So the funding source for the Affordable Housing Trust Fund was depleted at that time. House Bill 901 is the hotel tax bill. The revenue sources for that come from the county and come from the city of Annapolis. When the Affordable Housing Fund looked at housing prices in the city of Annapolis and looked at rental prices, one of the drivers of rental prices in the city of Annapolis was, for a landlord, is it more advantageous to do short-term rentals and to rent your property out that way, or to do long-term rentals? And that is what partially drives up part of the rental prices for the city. So one of the ways that that Affordable Housing Trust Fund could be populated in the estimation of the task force was through the hotel tax. So when we looked at what the changes were to the hotel tax in House Bill 901, one of those changes was to dedicate some of the city's portion of the revenue generated in the city directly to the Arts and Public Places Commission that the city of Annapolis has there as one of the city's commissions. So what the Affordable Housing Task Force would like to do is, in addition to the funding that's dedicated directly to the city's arts, is to take a portion of the revenue that's generated in the city of Annapolis and dedicate it directly to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund that exists in the city of Annapolis. It would be the same percentage of the city's revenue that's dedicated to the arts, a 3% revenue dedication to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, and that's the basis of the amendment. The task force did a lot of really great research on housing prices and what the purposes of the trust fund can be used for and how the revenue could be dedicated. So if anybody wants additional information on what the revenue would go for and what the need is in Annapolis, I'm happy to lay that out and send out any more information that my colleagues might need. For the technical parts of the amendment and how we would introduce that in committee, that would be left to Delegate Jones because she is my colleague on Ways and Means. And for that portion, I will turn it over to Delegate Jones.
Thank you, Delegate Henson. Thank you, Chairwoman. Thanks, colleagues. So just as a reminder, this is not new money. This is relocating existing tax revenue. It is in your inbox. I have been working with my seatmate Delegate Henson on this. And essentially this is just, as Delegate Henson just laid out, I know we're on a timetable. So this is the housing assistant payments. It's just 3% revenue distributed to the city under the Affordable Housing Trust Fund with the city of Annapolis. So it's very straightforward. Truly everything that Delegate Henson laid out really is it. As you can see in your email, it is a very short amendment. So I think we should just move on. I already see some hands and questions. So let's just move on to that. If that's okay, Chairwoman.
Yes, Delegate Chisholm.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to make sure I understand. So we were given 3% to the arts before, and the amendment would just say it's not going to go to the arts, it's going to go to the affordable housing, or is this are we taking another is there still 3% going to the arts and then 3% to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, or are we just removing the arts? Am I confused on this bill?
Delegate Henson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for asking that question, Delegate Chisholm. The way that prior to HB 901, the revenue came in and it all went to the Arundel County Arts Council, all the revenue for the arts, let me say that, because there was a significant portion that went for tourism. But the revenue for the arts went to the Arundel County Arts Council. There was no specific portion of the Annapolis revenue that went for arts in the city of Annapolis. HB 901 did for arts in Annapolis was it took the 3% that was coming from the Annapolis revenue and for arts, and it gave it right to the city of Annapolis, as opposed to funneling it through Anne Arundel County for projects that could be done for the arts in Annapolis. So just, have control over their own 3% instead of kicking it to the county and the county, doing projects in Annapolis. And what the Affordable Housing Trust Fund 3% would do is take an additional 3% out of the existing hotel tax revenue and put that into the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. So the arts that are being funded in there, right to the city of Annapolis, would still be funded, but the trust fund would be funded. The way that it worked is that after the tourism board got their portion, their 17%, after the arts got their 3%, the remainder of it reverted to the general fund in Annapolis. So as opposed to the remainder reverting to the general fund, it would be that 3% going to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund and then the remainder going to the general fund in Annapolis.
So should I assume that this is just to ensure that that 3% goes to the Affordable Trust Fund and not through a general fund where things get funny? Okay, I understand.
Thank you. Thank you, Delegate.
Right. Delegate Kipke.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, and thank you for the explanation. Did you say we're voting on this next week or today?
We'll be voting next week.
Okay. If it would be possible to get a financial a dollar amount summary of where the dollars are going currently. I'd like to know how much went to the general fund. I'd like to know what dollars we're talking about. I don't know if the city can provide that to us or the county, but I think it would be helpful to better understand the actual revenue and where it's going, and then to see how this amendment would change the total picture for this revenue stream. Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Delegate Henson, Delegate Henson.
Delegate Kipke, that's a great question. One of the good things about the percentage going to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund remaining at 3% is that we're able to take a peek at the fiscal note that exists, that 3% carve out for the arts. It would be the same dollar amount. In the years like we're having right now, the 3% looks like $50,000 thereabout, and that's in the fiscal note that we have attached to HB 901. In better years, it's more like $70,000 that's coming out when we're looking at a 3% share. And if you need any additional information on what the 3% would look like for the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, is your question tied towards what the dedicated purposes are for the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, or more so what 3% of the hotel tax revenue looks like?
Actually, I'll just take a look at the fiscal note. I think that answers my questions. Thank you.
Delegate Bagnall.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for bringing this before the delegation. I just want to make sure that I understand. So this would replace that fee in lieu and would help to keep the Affordable Housing Trust Fund resilient. Is that correct? That's the intention of the bill, or
that's well stated, Delegate Bagnall. That's correct.
Okay, and it looks like that will fill in that gap of resiliency at 3%.
That's correct.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Chair.
I'm moving Delegate Bagnall to Ways and Means. Okay, Vice Chair Rogers, do you have a question?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, Delegate Hinton, I was just wondering if that 3%, and maybe you said it and I missed it, is that Annapolis centric or is that countywide for the Housing Trust?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That's an excellent question. That 3% will be coming from the revenue generated within the municipal city of Annapolis from the hotel tax.
Okay.
Okay, seeing no further questions or comments, we will continue with our planned agenda. We will vote on this amendment next Friday, and I have to correct myself. The hearing was actually held on February 16th, but the hearing in committee was held on February 16th, but the committee has not voted on the bill. Okay, moving along. Any other, I have a hand raised by Delegate Jocelyn Pena-Melnick.
Good morning. We have to get going to vote in Prince George's at 8:45, so you have a blessed day. Thank you for a great meeting.
Thank you, Delegate. We will miss you. Miss you all. Okay, moving along. We have two more guests today, and we are fortunate to have Christy Simon. And thank you, Christy, for your patience in allowing us to make that slight adjustment to the agenda. And thank you for patiently waiting for us. So Christy is the president and CEO of the Central Maryland Chamber. And, you know, we are very happy and proud of our chambers of commerce because they promote businesses and they are doing all they can to help businesses and restaurants during this time of our pandemic. Their slogan is the Central of Intelligent Business. Okay, Christy.
Thank you so much for the warm welcome. Good morning, delegation members. My name is Christy Simon. I'm the new president and CEO of the Central Maryland Chamber of Commerce, and I have the pleasure of being the chair of the Fort Meade Community Covenant Council for 2021. I would like to briefly mention a couple of topics of importance in support of Colonel Nyland's prior presentation. Fort Meade is an economic driver for the state and the largest employer in the state of Maryland, and 40% of those employed at Fort Meade are Anne Arundel County residents. The population of Fort Meade has grown and will continue to grow over the coming years, and 80% of the population lives off post. In 2020, 32% of military spouses were experiencing unemployment, and we strive to do a much better job of linking employers who are hiring with these highly educated and well-qualified military family members who are looking for work. A job center on post with a consolidated work center would allow community businesses and supporting organizations to connect their opportunities with job hunters. There's also a huge need for off-post childcare. Even when at full capacity, only 50% of the childcare needs for Fort Meade families are met. State and county funds could support the reopening of closed childcare centers safely and could encourage funding for creative programs to encourage the opening of new childcare businesses to fill this need. And lastly, I'd like to encourage ongoing consideration for the funding of projects to improve the quality of life around Fort Meade to make it an installation of choice for service members considering a move to the area. As an example, one such project is the Odenton Town Center Community Park to be located adjacent to the library, which will provide trails, playgrounds, dog parks, and more for the enjoyment of service members and their families, as well as the overall community. Amenities like parks and family-friendly activities can make Anne Arundel County an even more desirable place to live and work. So thank you to the delegation members for your past and ongoing support and for having me this morning.
Thank you very much. We appreciate having you here, and you are welcome anytime to come back and give us updates.
Thank you so much.
I see no hands raised for comments or questions. So we're going to keep moving with the agenda. Our last speaker, who has been patiently waiting to speak. And since we're talking about the population of Fort Meade, let's continue with Doreen Harwood, who is the president of the Fort Meade Alliance. The Fort Meade Alliance supports the work of the people of Fort Meade and help to drive the economic growth of the Fort Meade community. Ms. Harwood, good to have you. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much for allowing me to provide a few comments in support of Colonel Nyland and in support of the entire community. So my name is Doreen Harwood. I serve as the president of the board of directors for the FMA. As my counterparts have highlighted, Fort Meade is an integral asset for Anne Arundel County, the state of Maryland, and for our nation. Fort Meade is the forward operating base in the US's defense of our cyber domain. Support for the men and women who execute this mission, one of which I think is online, Vice Chair Rogers, a direct contributor there, is critical. And I want to start off truly by thanking all of you for your support for the establishment of the Education and Resiliency Center on Fort Meade at Coon Hall. The leadership of Senator Bidle, Delegate Chang, Delegate Rogers has been critical to establishing the country's first ever partnership between the Department of the Army and a community organization like the Fort Meade Alliance. The grants that the state of Maryland and the Local Development Council have provided are essential to the realization of this first of its kind project. So thank you so, so much. I would like to touch on a few topics relative to workforce and education. So in addition to the 17,000 plus men and women in uniform at Fort Meade. We also have another 45,000 DoD civilians and embedded contractors on the fort. And as you heard Colonel Nyland state, that number will probably go up to closer to 70,000 in the not too near future. In addition, we have another 100,000 contractors outside the fence line. And the annual payroll, based upon a 2018 Department of Commerce estimate, was $9.8 billion. So a significant economic boost to Anne Arundel County as well as Howard County and to our entire region and state. So this workforce is critical, both for economic reasons, but I, as a former National Security Agency employee, for national security regions as national security concerns as well. And we need to focus on how best to recruit, retain, and educate our cyber warriors. So the good news is Maryland enjoys the largest population, the largest concentration of cyber professionals in the nation. However, we also, because we have this large need, we have one of the largest gaps because the need keeps growing. Again, referring back to Colonel Nyland's expansion of Fort Meade, which houses many of the intelligence and cyber missions. So we have this significant gap, large need, already large populations, which is causing all of our attentions to look at not just recruiting and retaining, but I'll go more to development. And recently, the Fort Meade Alliance published a white paper specific to 5 gaps in the cybersecurity IT workforce that we all must meet. And we had a very lively video presentation last week with President Freeman Hrabowski from UMBC, headlining that and really making us aware that the net needs to be cast much wider. So in an effort to try to fill those gaps, the FMA is heavily involved in partnerships with the Anne Arundel County Public School System and education partners around the region to really attract a more diverse set of students. That's the main takeaway from our investigations, the FMA white paper, as well as, talk to most educators and Freeman Hrabowski representing that is a significant untapped source of cyber professionals and just professionals in general. And then definitely links with the Colonel's statement about more focus on high school and middle school. So the FMA has partnered with Anne Arundel County Public Schools recently. Over the last year, we've established a cyber range at Meade High School. We provided funding to burgeoning high school entrepreneurs. We provide speakers for virtual seminars with regard to the security clearance process and how basically to stay in a position, for a young person to stay in a position during their middle school and high school years in order to be able to get that clearance. And we have also, for years now, provided tech demonstrations by our own member companies, which right now we have 275 member organizations, the largest I'm told that we've ever been since even before BRAC. And we want to ask you to support these programs and additional programs that fund and support building a deeper, but more importantly, a more diverse workforce. So with that, I'll turn it back to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that presentation. It is great to hear that Maryland has the most cyber professionals in the nation. I think that it's an honorable profession, and I personally wish I had that skill set, but I do trust those who do. And thank you for your work with helping them. We appreciate having you here. We have some questions, comments, and probably some thank yous. So I will start with Vice Chair Rogers.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I just lost my feed, but I got it back. So you are so correct, Madam Chair. I want to start by acknowledging Ms. Harwood the great things that the Fort Meade Alliance does. The Fort Meade Alliance is an incredible advocate for the installation. And, you know, I didn't get a chance to thank Miss Gina Stewart earlier, but I know she partners a lot with the Fort Meade Alliance. And I know Mr. O'Farrell, who we had a chance to hear from last night, he doesn't have his picture on, so maybe he's having he's hiding today. But oh, there he is. I thought maybe it was a bad hair day. No pun intended. But you know, the things that Mr. O'Farrell, Tim, and Ms. Harwood, and you know, the BWI partnership in alliance with the Fort Meade Alliance, no pun intended, is Friday morning, and I haven't had all my Starbucks yet, but just serve as incredible partners for Fort Meade and everything that Fort Meade does. And I just want to personally thank all of you for what you do, and just express, you know, my support and gratitude. I like to remind Colonel Nyland all the time that I'm actually a customer at Fort Meade. I'm there pretty much, you know, probably multiple times a week. So I have firsthand knowledge of all the great things that the installation does. So thank all of you.
Great, thank you, Vice Chair Rogers. Senator Pam Beidle.
Thank you again, Chairman Bartlett. And so you can see we have a great team working in the Fort Meade area. I'm so proud of Doreen and Christy and Gina and the work they're doing. And they all work together in the Community Covenant. And it's just really improving the quality of life for not only the residents of Fort Meade, but the surrounding community. And Doreen, I just want to tell you, it's been our pleasure, both in the Local Development Council and here in the state delegation, to help with the Resiliency Center. And so Chairman Bartlett and myself and Delegate Chang have been constant supporters on the Local Development Council for the Resiliency Center, and we can't wait to see it open. So thank you for your leadership on that. And thank you to all three of you for your work in the surrounding community.
Great, thank you. It has been a pleasure to welcome our guest today, to hear from our guest from the Fort Meade Garrison commander, all the way through the BWI Partnership, Central Maryland Chamber, and the Fort Meade Alliance. Thank you all for being here today. Thank you, members of the Anne Arundel County House Delegation. You all are awesome. It is a Friday, which means you're supposed to go off and do great things with respect to relaxing over the weekend. I would encourage it because obviously we have our roller skates on and we are moving. Thank you everyone for being here. Delegate Heather Bagnall.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to take a quick moment in case the delegation didn't see this, because it's pertinent to our talk about cybersecurity. But yesterday, after we left floor, I got a push notification that our Board of Elections won a national competition for innovation in cybersecurity for the 2020 elections. So I just wanted to give a little shout out to our Anne Arundel County Board of Elections.
Excellent, well done, well done. Is there anything else for the good of the order? I see no hands raised. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion
So moved.
Second.
We are adjourned.